Hey everybody, here we go, here we go.
Hello.
Once again
Hey.
from points beyond, I don't know, mystery points, what do you want to say? Some our hidden location. Where are we? We're in I don't know. Our den, I don't know.
We're in your office.
Some
Actually, you're in
private space, some hidden location out in the, I don't know, where I'm running out of things to say.
That you spend most of your time in.
I spend like most of my time in this
most of your day.
Absolutely.
Right here.
Yes, that is very true.
Yes, it is.
Can't deny
Work,
that.
business, church, everything happens out of this spot right here.
This is the hub. This is it. This is where it all happens.
Yes, it is.
Short right now. Welcome everybody. Glad to be back with you live again this week. I think last week was the week we redid one of the programs.
Yes.
That was like our first week off.
Since March, that's right.
We have been at it since March. A lot of people have only been following us past couple of months, but we've been at it since March doing this. Mm-hmm. And my body said I needed a break. I didn't say it. My body said.
No, your body shut you down.
My body said, you are getting a break,
yes.
Like it or not. It's happening. This is what's going to take place. And so last week, Thanksgiving week, I did nothing.
Exactly.
But we made it through and I felt a lot better, and I've been working twice as much ever since. So I don't know if that helps. How does that work out?
Well, you got a resurgence of energy.
I think so. I think so. I just got to keep
That's
it
what happened.
and I get sick again. So welcome everybody. I hope everybody's joining on, connecting up with us right now, starting watch parties, whatever the case. We got a great guest that's already lined up in the waiting room for us tonight. He's in our green. We have our green room, right? Online green room. And so be joining us in a little bit. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And enjoyed yourself. It was, I know, very different for a lot of people who were like some people in very small groups, small family groups, some people actually by themselves.
Yeah.
And so a very different, unique experience for Thanksgiving for many. But since then as well, we've seen now this week the response of all the traveling that we saw. Everybody knows a bunch of people got bold and got in airplanes and drove on the roads and saw family. And we're about 9 days out later, and the COVID rates as of like yesterday just started popping up. Yep. So in this particular area, speaking for our Rochester area, they went up on yesterday to about double what they had been tracking. And saw the numbers, actually that was 2 days ago's numbers. Yesterday's numbers, not quite that high, but very high as well. So we've got a little bit of a mess going on, and very concerned about what we're gonna see over the next week or two in terms of coronavirus cases.
Exactly.
This is serious, folks.
It really is.
This is very serious. And a lot of people don't seem to really grasp how serious it is yet. But I was sharing a couple pieces of data yesterday. One important stat came out: the death rates, the number of people that are dying right now, not just people who are catching the virus, people who are dying per day, has become the number one killer in the United States. COVID right now is the number one killer. When we were talking about this like 3 weeks ago, I think it was like the number 4 or 5.
Something like it was,
now it's the number one killer.
Number one.
For a long time, heart disease has been number one in the United States. And right now, the death rates from heart rate are about 1,800 people per day. But the COVID rates right now are close to 3,000 people per day. And making it the most rapid, the highest killer in cause of death in the United States right now, and rising. Could very easily be over 4,000 pretty soon, which means it would be double the number one killer of people in the United States. That's crazy. That's just a really crazy thought.
Sad.
But that's what we're dealing with right now. For people who said this is just another flu, it's like the flu, you got to understand it's way more than that. It's way more deadly than that. It's a very serious problem. And so this is what we're dealing with right now. And we have to be conscious and careful about that. So we're still going into, I try to talk about this stuff because all the conversation that you hear in the media right now is filtered through political agenda. And so when people talk about this stuff on the news and things, you kind of listen and don't listen. I'm trying to be a realist to this, right? This is the reality of what we're dealing with. We do have Christmas, New Year's coming up, more people gathering, more people traveling, more than likely during this time. It's unless God does something different, it's going to get worse because we're doing all the things that need to happen to make it get worse.
Exactly. Well, we were told when coronavirus, first came about, we were told that it would get worse during the winter months.
Right. In general.
Yes.
And then you put all this stuff over the top of it, and it just makes it that much worse. So it's really a scary thought to think that we are really just going right down this rabbit hole of doing pretty much everything we can do, talking about we as a country, to put ourselves in a very, very bad situation.
Yes.
So I encourage everybody to still be wise. If we can't take each other, you got to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
When we first started this, we looked at this as an exercise to challenge to see how much we cared about each other. Not just doing it for yourself, but do it for those who you might infect, who might get sick because of you. But if we're not gonna take care of each other, then you got to take care of yourself.
Right.
Protect yourself at a minimum. I know it's a long haul. I know we're tired of it. I know we're frustrated. We want to do other things. We want our independence back. But here's the real deal that we're dealing with. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. And not only that, but the other thing that has not really started breaking out yet, because I know everybody's banking on the virus, on the vaccine. And everybody's been hearing, okay, we were hearing earlier this year, they'll be out by the end of the year. It's coming. And it is going to be released, which is good. There's going to be a lot of debate as to who will take it.
Yeah.
But even in its best case scenario, we need to understand that this is going to take probably till the second quarter, April, May, June, July, to really get out accessible to all the people in all the places, number one, and then who's going to take it. And the thing that hasn't been talked about yet, because they don't honestly know, is how long it lasts.
Right.
Is this something that is not necessarily going to give you lifetime immunity?
Right. You may have to take another shot.
You may have to take boosters, and we don't know how long that's going to be. The testing right now is only out for 3 months. We don't know. So,
side effects, we have to be concerned with side effects.
And macro side effects, meaning the effect of thousands and millions of people taking the virus. There could be all kinds of things, long-term effects. We don't know. I don't want to discourage people from taking it, because under the circumstances, it's probably the right thing to do. But there's a lot that's unknown. So this thing, we got to get in our mindset that this is not necessarily going away anytime soon. And so we have to take care of ourselves. That's the bottom line. You have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Do what you got to do. It's like we say, you can have remedies for fighting colds and flus, or you can just get some sleep and you can eat right and you can stay warm and get rest. I mean, you can't depend on all this. We want science to do everything for us these days. We got to be conscious and careful and take care of yourself. So wear a mask. The one thing you can do, wear a mask. And not only out in public, because the reality is right now, it's not just an issue of going into the stores and going into these public places. The spread right now is taking place in small groups.
Right.
You have your home group, which is fine. But then when you get your other group friends together, and this is happening a lot more and more and more, where you get together your small group of friends and you think, I'm okay, we know each other, I know you.
Right.
But you don't know where you've been.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And your friend who's in your little small group has their own other set of friends that they're with, and then they catch it there and bring it back to you and blah, blah, blah. I'm hearing this story over and over again, just in our small company, not to mention other things, other resources outside of that. This is what's happening. You have to be careful around in the people that you are in and around, even that you consider to be close or friendly or even family.
Right.
So I think that's about all we can say on this. We want to encourage you. By the way, you can call us anytime during the program. If you want to be a part of the program, you have some things to comment on any of these subjects that come up, give us a call. You can also comment on Facebook as well, either on the church page or on our direct pages, our watch parties, et cetera, so forth. We'd love to hear from you. The number here is area code 951
799
799
9032.
9032. So give us a call, 951-799-9032. Elder Hosmer is going to be joining us in just a minute as well. So a couple other things that are going on right now. The election process continues on. This has been like the realest reality TV ever. And it's starring the biggest reality TV personality
exactly
ever. President Donald Trump, who comes from The Apprentice to
You Are Fired.
Producing.
No, I have to say that.
I think he has produced an
he
amazing
doesn't think
show.
He's fired though.
He has produced an amazing show.
He has.
For 4 years now. We have had daily television,
daily reality
from Donald
TV.
Trump. And,
political.
A lot of people
reality.
feel like it has been stressful. And that is one of the reasons people checked out of it, because the stress levels associated with hearing something every day going on with Donald.
Yes.
It's just been a lot. And I think he feels from comments he's made that that's what people want. And he intends, and I think he does a really good job of keeping himself in front of the press every day, largely through doing things that are very controversial and very radical on the edge. But he keeps the attention and the cameras on him from all sides every day.
That's his strategy.
That is a little bit strenuous, though, to the people who are watching the drama, the reality drama going on around us.
Yes.
So the one thing that I noticed is that as you start looking at Joe Biden, and you look at how the press isn't around him, it's a lot calmer.
Yes, it is.
When you watch him on television, and now the attention is beginning to transition a little bit. Still got a lot going on with Donald, but when you see people watching and things like that, or you listen to what they're saying, interviews, it just feels a lot calmer. Even in the midst of urgency. And I thought it was really strikingly good that, this whole question as to whether Donald Trump will come to his inauguration, and Donald's holding back on saying, and a lot of people are guessing, but this week, Joe Biden said he wanted Donald Trump to come, which I thought was kind of a step up thing to say, because he could have easily said sayonara, don't need you, but he said he thought it was very important for people to see that transition in power effectively go. And I thought that's a real big picture look.
Yes, it is.
Right? Versus, trying to just look, it being about you, and I don't care if you don't want to come, don't let them come.
Yeah.
No, this is bigger than me. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than us.
Concede, buddy.
So even concede, don't concede. Come, because there needs to be this transition, this rightful transition of power. So I thought I really had a lot of respect for that. And when you watch him, it's much more, with Donald Trump, it's just always such intensity going on.
Right.
And when you're watching him, there seems to be a focused vision, a focus to try and develop a plan. Now, I'm not saying, and I'm going to say this outright, I am sure that I will not and do not agree with everything that the Democrats are going to try and do over the next 4 years. I can guarantee you, I don't necessarily agree with that. But you see a focused plan. You see a focus in terms of priorities, and the priorities especially being the people and the country that are already being displayed. It feels a lot different.
Yes.
When you say so?
It does feel different.
And so
because it is different.
So I think that'll be something to really see how that plays out and how it affects just the overall atmosphere of the country. Now, the other thing is, Donald Trump, win, lose, is not going away.
No.
So, we know the reality of this is that the battle will continue on, and, there will be voices going on continually behind the scenes. So it's going to be, it's not over. It's going to be very interesting to see how things happen. So we shall see. Right?
We shall
continue
see.
to ride the roller coaster.
Yep.
And see where it takes us. So we do have a guest on, and I think we should invite him in. We're glad to have, an honor to have with us, Elder Douglas Hosmer. We have known him for many, many, many years. I don't know if I want to say exactly how many years. He might, but it's been quite a few. And so we're glad to have him on with us. I hear some sound coming up, and I'm looking for a picture. And we will know that he lives yet again. There he is, Elder. How are you?
Hey.
How you doing?
Hello.
I'm doing well, and I apologize. I've only done Zoom a couple times, so
Oh, it's okay. We're all learning.
Listen, trust me when I say we have
I
seen
wasn't
much
sure what
worse.
You did very good, actually. You did real good.
We have seen much
where
worse.
it said start video. I said that must be it. So
Okay.
See, at least you figured it out. That's
Yeah.
all.
He figured it out quickly.
Welcome to 2020.
2020.
We are all learning, and that's, we were actually talking about this morning. We had our leadership team meeting at the church, and we've been talking about the advancement of ministry and how ministry is changing and all these different things. And some people are doing well with it, and some people are struggling with it. So that was one of the things we did want to talk to you about in terms of how is ministry going for you these days in 2020.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say I'm so honored that you thought of me tonight. What a delight and honor it is to be here. I know there's so many that you know. And so, well, I just appreciate being part of the conversation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We were talking about how people, there were a lot of people that responded to you being on. They're all excited. So
yes,
you got to bring it tonight.
Yeah, really. They were like, this is going to be good.
You must that person. I'm sorry, you mean me?
Oh, yeah, you.
Yes, you.
It's that personality there, Hosmer, that you have.
It might have a little bit to do with those things you post too. Perhaps a little bit.
I think so. Yeah.
People want to hear what you got to say, man. So I was telling my wife as you were coming on, we've known each other for a long, long time, right?
Yeah.
So talk about your background a little bit for those that may not know you. Share a little bit about where you came from to get to here.
Well, I wasn't really a church baby, even though the Lord saved me at a young age. I was not really raised in the church. I was, Lord, my testimony is something I don't think I've ever shared in all the details. But I was out there. I got in trouble and stayed in trouble, and the Lord saved me. I had a mother that she was, a backslider in and out, but she got in the church when I was a teenager. Then I also had an aunt who I was very close to. So when aunt and my mother started going to church, that had an influence on me. And my aunt, she just wouldn't let me go. She just kept on, staying on me about going to church. And the Lord just saved me and changed my life for real when I was about 17. And then I got into I don't know how deep I want to go with this, but quite a stringent church, which they didn't believe anybody else was saved. In fact, when I was a teenager, I didn't have a television. When I got saved, I brought the television. I know y'all never been this saved before.
Yeah, you was deep saved. I had a radio, but I didn't know how to use it. So.
Couldn't snap your fingers.
No, we had albums, we had record players, and we had a restricted number of records in my house.
Yeah. I don't think this generation will ever understand what we went through. I had to pack up, of course, all of my, back then it was cassette tapes.
Right. 8-tracks, but
not 8-track. That was your generation. Don't put me in that. And all my video games. And what we did.
The video game? It took the video games? Oh, it took Atari.
No Pac-Man.
No Pac-Man.
And then what we did in the white church, I know y'all don't know nothing about this, but we did, we would revival service, and then on that Friday night or Sunday night, whatever, we had a bonfire.
Oh, okay.
What you did that week you threw everything in that fire.
Oh, wow.
Like cigarettes,
Uh-huh.
throw my Pac-Man.
Oh, Lord. Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
In the fiery furnace. Oh, Lord.
Oh, boy. Burning them sins.
I had all that stuff. My mother said, what are you doing? All that stuff, all that money I spent. I said, the pastor told me I had to do it.
Oh, man. Wow.
But through all that, thank the Lord. I think it even those, of course we know that, God is not necessarily calling for religiosity to be that stringent. He's calling for relationship, but all that helped to make us and shape us into who we are today. And of course, back then, they were, if you didn't belong to this church, you weren't baptized this way, if you didn't get it like this,
right?
And so the Lord
still are, many of them still are that way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The Lord taught me through life and through experience to be a little more open-minded, shall we say?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you start by going back to the book and reading. What does it say? Actually, say again.
Yeah. And then what does it actually mean?
Right. How does all this fit together?
But all of that prepared me, of course, for now. Then I went to Syracuse. I was pretty young, just an hour away from my hometown. And I went there to go to school, even though I didn't last. But the Lord allowed me to meet Bishop Robert Jones, who he would have tent revivals, and he would have month-long tent revivals. And so, one summer of '99, he put me up out in the tent, because he believed if you was a preacher, that's where you practice, out in the tent.
Right.
On the street.
I preached one night. He said, he's going to preach tomorrow night. So I preached the next night. He's going to preach tomorrow night, And if somebody, get baptized or act like they want to get baptized, he's going to say, one more night.
One more.
So
he was an inspiration to all of us. I mean, we were all connected through Bishop Jones. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he put me up the first week of the month, and then he put me up at the end of the revival. And then he said, the Lord's hand is that's really when I mentioned that, because that's really when I kind of tapped into this evangelistic call that's on my life. He really pushed me, and then he confirmed it. He said, the Lord's hand is really on you for something deeper and something great. So next thing I know, I was just preaching around Syracuse and Rochester, Buffalo, maybe the upstate New York area. 2001, I had quit my job, and as Bishop told me, you don't need to work. The Lord's going, the Lord's going to open doors for you. Just go, But he didn't tell me, they're going to invite you. They're going to invite you to come preach, but necessarily give you a whole lot of money. So, but he didn't tell me all that. My first a plane ticket, 2001 was bought for me, and I my first flight now.
Oh boy!
I went from Syracuse to New York City. That was easier, up and down, right?
Right.
That's a short flight.
This ain't nothing.
Right.
Right.
Then I went from New York to Tucson, Arizona.
Oh boy!
Oh boy.
That's a flight.
Yes.
Welcome to the world of flying.
When is this thing gonna land?
Is it going to land?
Turbulence.
That plane started shaking. I thought we was going down, but
man,
it was turbulence. But from 2001, when my first plane ticket was bought, until until the pandemic, really.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord has made me to just be full-time ministry.
Right.
And I trust that he's gotten the glory out of my life. And now here we are.
Here we are.
And it's a whole new world, isn't it?
It is.
I want to talk a little bit about
Things have changed.
Yeah. So what's the experience been like for you this year?
Well, I think it's been an adjustment for all of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I could talk about and lament how my whole life has changed. And I did that for the first month or two. Woe is me.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and got a little job at Walmart because I thought maybe I'll just hang around home for a month or two. I was hoping what Trump said would be true. He said, it'll all just go away.
Stop, right?
Mm-hmm. We got it under control.
Not yet. It's still
what he said.
We'll see.
I should have known better, but I was hoping it would all just go away. And then of course that didn't happen. So I had to, but I think it has for all of us adjusted us, and we could talk about the negative, but I just choose to talk about the positive. I mean, I believe we all are learning.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said tonight, you know, learning Zoom. We're learning how to be more virtual and perhaps reach more people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're able to reach in our building. And I pray that we never go back, even when the Lord opens us up, that we stay virtual, stay social.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget what we've learned in this experience. But it has taught me, I tapped into something that maybe I didn't even know was in me, an entrepreneur kind of spirit. So I'm traveling now, and I'm a little different kind of way, selling things and delivering things. And I have a regular job in Michigan, and then I come back to New York. So I'm there 2 weeks, and I come back here for 2 weeks. So I do the regular job, and then I do my own business for 2 weeks. And I've been doing like that for the last 5 or 6 months. Now I think when the winter hits and when after I come back for Christmas, I think I'm gonna let you all have, even though Michigan gets bad too, but I don't want to travel in the time. So January, February, I'll probably just stay there and that. But the job is very challenging. I work in a home with mentally disabled people, so I love it, but it's challenging. So 2 weeks there, and then 2 weeks away, kind of give a little bit of break, and then calls me to tap into, you know, a side of me that, and perhaps we won't even be here tonight having this conversation if it wasn't for the pandemic, because it's caused you to tap into
exactly
something that perhaps you would have never discovered, which is
probably not. It absolutely has changed. Ministry has changed this year.
It has.
Even the way, I mean, so, you know, first of all, the concept of getting out, onto internet is so new for so many different people. And then, you know, I kind of watched along with us how many other churches kind of started making that transition. And also many that don't. And not only that, we'll come back to that, but even how you minister on, like people who minister on television, but people who minister online, the ministry, how you minister is different.
It's different.
How you share, how you preach, how you approach. A lot of people, you know, one transition of that is like television ministry, where you have to preach into a camera and get used to that. But just the whole element of how you approach a worldwide or a broadened audience and stuff that people used to do, for example, preaching wise in a church full of people, don't quite carry over the same way when you're looking at a lens and someone in front of their screen. So the whole aspect of ministry has changed. How have you dealt with that? How has that been for you?
Well, that could be a good thing too. See, I'm an optimist, so I just choose to
Right.
see the glass half full and not half empty. But I think that could be good for us too as preachers, because how many of us are used to preaching with church full, so you're used to getting feedback, used to
a response.
So you kind of, that's kind of gas to you. So that kind of help you move on and get to your next thought. So without that means you got to be a little more disciplined,
right?
Which may be a good thing.
You can have more content too.
Yeah,
right.
You can't just throw something out and waiting for somebody to yell back to it. Yeah, you don't have to hear what you said anyway. You have to actually say something.
That's what I'm saying. You have to be disciplined to have your sermon together.
Right.
You can't just say, well, I'm just going to go with what I got. And see what happens.
Yes. You have to have a plan.
Anybody say amen in the comments.
Right.
It's quite the same as.
Exactly. There's response. And it's delayed. So it's not in the time.
So I think it's teaching us how to prepare, how to minister, how to be effective, even better. And I tell you, people's attention span you think their attention span in church is short.
Right.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Because now it's easy. A lot of times people won't get up and leave in church. They got to lift their finger up and they got to.
Yep.
Everybody gonna see them walk out.
Right.
But all they got to do is hit a button. So maybe we even have to be more disciplined in our length. How long we are, how much content we record. Overload people, but you don't want to just be repetitive either. So you gotta have a good balance. And so I think it's really teaching us, how to be better preachers, better speakers, better students. Because sometimes we're students when we're younger, whether because we go to college or go to seminary or sit under somebody, so we're students, but then we think we've arrived,
Right.
So we're no longer a student. But no, this has taught all of us. The good thing about this is it has leveled the playing field, if you will.
Absolutely, it has.
So there's no big eyes right now, and so I think it hopefully it humbled us.
It really has, because there are a lot of people who've had really big churches who have had a lot of difficulty making this transition. I've seen a lot of people with really big churches, pastors that I know, that have been depressed.
Yeah.
So they can't. They're used to having, being in those congregations, having those people. I don't want to say anything of any specific person, but you have to imagine that there's a psychological ego aspect of it, because when you're used to getting all this confirmation from hundreds of people every week, and now all of a sudden that's gone, it's gotta mess with your mind. Then the whole idea of transitioning to, like I said, online, there are people that have potential. They have the money, they have the resources, but they just can't mentally make that transition. Right. So you talk about leveling the playing field. You now have an opportunity where everybody, big or small, has access to the entire world at the same level.
Yes.
So it really is an amazing thing how it's readjusted things.
Yes. And I think too, it has caused people to, figure out what they are, what they're really all about.
Yeah, that's true.
I was watching Bishop Jakes the other day. I'm so impressed by him. And, you hate to name names because there's others too, but I just saw him preaching in that empty church. But he preaching like, he's all excited. I said, He's just sitting there preaching to himself. And of course, he got 10,000 people watching, but I'm just he's so excited and so passionate about what he's doing, you know, because when you're really passionate about it, it shows.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and if anybody has any level of discernment, they can see when you're just kind of going through the motions, you know.
I can tell you this, you know, those who, like Jake's, who started out preaching in churches of 10 and 15 people and preaching to your family, can handle that better because you've been there, you've done that, you know. And so that certainly makes a difference in your ability to, you know, I preached to 3 people before. I preached times when it was just my wife and the 2 kids, right?
Well, I think small churches right now because they're the only ones open because
right. That's very true.
Distance.
Absolutely. God uses all kind. You know, at the beginning of this year, I'll tell a little bit of our story. At the beginning of this year, before all this started, God was really leaning into me and about the fact that the church was bigger than just the walls.
Right.
Yeah.
Really been in me since the previous year. We had started talking the previous year about trying to do some online ministry. And so we had a kind of a slow plan to do it. We ended up accelerating it rapidly after all this started.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the year, I was literally preaching about the church is not the building. We are the church. The church is beyond these walls. And these churches, we as churches got to get outside these walls. What happened to us this year, to me, reminds me a lot of what happened in the book of Acts with the church, because you know, Jesus left them the message, go ye therefore to all nations, preach to all nations, right? The church comes in, they get in Jerusalem, they receive the Holy Spirit, and they get comfortable being right there, growing there, taking care of each other. It was the pressure of oppression that forced them to leave what was comfortable, to get outside the walls of Jerusalem. And then the gospel spread, as Jesus said. And that was the same thing I was feeling in January, that we have gotten way too comfortable in our buildings and inside. Our ministries don't look outside. They don't look down the street anymore. And we preach to each other.
And they're not bringing people in.
Right.
People are not coming in like they used to.
So this really forced the church out of its walls and into community issues, community needs, more so than ever. Not that anyone wasn't doing that before.
Right.
But at a whole nother level. And then this internet thing. And so I really believe, as you were saying, in the midst of everything the devil does, God always has something going on.
Right.
Yes.
You know, he uses, if you will, or allows the devil to execute things that are in his will.
Right.
And so, you know, the explosion of ministry that we've seen, I was just sharing with our folks this morning. I mean, we're a small church relative to everything else. We don't have a huge amount of resources, huge amount of people, but God has opened doors for us in terms of online ministry. We had a clip that we played, and you know, you're talking about how long people listen to stuff. Online now, we measure reaches by how many people listen for 30 seconds or more.
Wow.
That's one of the metrics. How many people did you have that stayed on longer than 30 seconds? So, but you know, we had a one clip about a month ago that I posted and sent out. It reached over 40,000 people. One clip, 4-minute clip. They had over 400 people shared that with somebody else. Just one little sermon clip.
Yes.
It just shows you the potential explosion on internet ministry versus what you can do in your building. Right. You know, it's a whole nother scale and level. And those are people across the entire country.
Right.
Responses we got back, people asking for prayer, the conversations.
There's a Bible.
We ended up buying somebody a Bible, sending a Bible to somebody in Long Island. Had somebody that was on that had been abused by the church and was very upset. And we had to talk about that. Had people asking for prayer. I mean, all kind of stuff that when you talk about playing fields being leveled.
Yes.
God has opened doors.
Yes.
And, you know, if you can either look at it and say, man, why won't they let us have service? Right. Or you look at it and say, there's this huge harvest out there outside of our buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
Because what that showed me is that clip wasn't just reaching other church people. It was reaching people
in general
in this atmosphere who are hungry, who are afraid, who are worried, who are tired, who need something. You know, there is so much ministry out there.
Right.
That we are not seeing because we've been inside these walls for so long. I really think that is the opportunity, not only of this year, but heading into 2021.
Exactly. I feel it's pushing ministers out.
Yes.
To really minister. I'm not saying that you're not ministering within the building, but you know, we are to go out into the world, the highways, the byways, the hedges, and reach other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, we've spent so much time preaching to each other or preaching to our folks that we've already supposedly converted. You know, when there's so many people out there and we just assume, those folks aren't going to want to go to church. But it's amazing to think that the people that are in their homes, they're afraid, they need something, need an inspiration, and they're hungry now more than ever before.
Right. And I think now we are not being stagnated. You know, it's an opportunity to grow your ministry and to develop new ministries are also developing from, you know, online.
That's the thought I had. Well, after I got over my little pity party, that's the thought. The Lord let me know I'm stretching
you.
All that is in you.
Right.
I'm bringing it out of you.
Yes.
And perhaps we had maxed out. You know, we did the church thing. We did. So now the Lord says, I want to show you all that's really in you.
Yes.
I want you to reach as many people as you can.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, where the masses are is not in our pews. We thank God for those who come.
Right.
We thank those who are a part of it. Right. But the people that are hurting, the people really need ministry. And let's be honest, we know we don't like to talk about it. A lot of people will not come to our churches because they are in church. Right. And so you can talk all you want about they should come and get over your hurt, and ain't no such thing as hurt. But the bottom line is some people have been hurt, have been wounded, and so they're scared to come. I'm not giving them an excuse. They probably should come. They should. We all should get over things we've been through, but it's not that easy. It's a problem.
To get them there, you got to be able to go out to them and help them to overcome that. I mean, it really is amazing. I mean, we've had in the month of November, we had just about 80 new followers follow our page. What do you think it's going to take for me to get 80 new people to join my church?
To actually come into the church. Yeah.
How long do you think that would take? I mean, it's just no comparison, you know, in terms of the opportunity that is outside of our walls. And so I really believe if ministers can learn to think outside, I mean, and the politics part, this thing has been so politicized that it's caused ministry people to be so focused on things like rights versus ministry. All the energy we have put into trying to fight the government, if people put that energy into getting the word out, this could be an amazing time of evangelism right now.
Yeah, I told a preacher this week. I said, if you talked about Jesus as much as you talk about Trump,
true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that
for some reason he's my former friend now.
Former.
You got blocked. You got blocked, man. There goes the button.
But you're right. Even that, with whatever side you're on, the church should have never gotten that caught up.
Right.
Into now we can have a side. You know, we can defend our position. But I believe heaven is going to be full of Republicans and Democrats.
Exactly.
I mean, I believe that the role of the church is to bring the spiritual essence of what's going on. Right? That's what we're supposed to be doing. And we're supposed to reprove and wrong. You cannot just pick a person and say, okay, we're going to push them, but then not say when they're doing wrong. What prophet do you know?
Right.
What prophet do you know from the Bible that would support a David, even when he was messing with Bathsheba, right? I love you. You're God's anointed. You're called to this. But listen, I got to correct you on the fact that you did X, Y, and Z, and God is not pleased.
That's right.
So when we get to the point in the church where we are ignoring what's wrong to try and enforce what we think is right, something ain't right with that.
Exactly.
Something ain't right with that.
We're supposed to correct and instruct. I spoke on that actually last Sunday. I spoke on that scripture, didn't I? Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, the politics on this has really just, it's hurt the church. And I'm fearful that it's hurt the reputation of the church overall. I mean, the only person that gets the glory out of this is the devil. Right. And you got churches on both sides accusing each other, putting each other down. They're not God. No, they're not God. Who are people on the outside supposed to believe?
Exactly.
According to y'all, nobody's saying, neither one of you. So I don't know who to believe anymore.
And then you tried to put God on your opinion,
right?
Maybe on your racism. Help us, Lord. You tried to put God on your background. God will never be a part of anything contrary to his word. And I was reading, I read it ever so often because it's so powerful. 1 Corinthians 13 today. Anything that does not exemplify love. Paul even said, speaking in tongues, but if you don't have love, have the gift of prophecy, but if you don't have, so to see, the fighting and the over an ungodly man, and then neither one of them are saved and sanctified.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So
and it just revealed a whole lot of what's wrong with us, and I'm working on some thoughts now, and it might have to become a book before it's over. But the hypocrisy of the church,
that's like a book.
Yeah, really.
You say one thing, then sometimes your actions are different. And I want to talk real quick. I know you'll have questions and stuff, but about this pro-life thing, because a segment of the church, and I grew up in this, so I think I can talk about it. They would tell you, if you don't vote pro-life, then you are just of the devil, and God hates baby killers, and you going to hell, and all this. Pro-life, 1973, Roe v. Wade was president when it became law. It has never, now different issues about abortion, like the length of time, how many months, those kinds of things have come up in court. But Roe v. Wade, whether abortion can be illegal or legal, they never talk about it. It never comes up. Nixon was president. Then you had Reagan, pro-life. Bush Sr., pro-life. Bush Jr., pro-life. The Trump, pro-life. Okay. This issue that they claim is so important, it never comes up. You won't hear about it again until 4 more years. It never comes up in court. And these same people that claim to be pro-life was also the same ones when George Floyd got killed. Who's the other ones? Ahmaud Arbery. These other
Daniel Food right here.
They weren't walking and protesting, marching with the Black young people, African Americans. They were marching with the police and saying protect the police. And in other words, what they're saying is these police that killed these African American young men should not be prosecuted. These same people that carry pro-life signs, carry back the blue signs. They do not want them to get convicted.
Right.
So you're not pro-life. you're just against abortion.
Well, even more than that, what a lot of people are using as the analogy is that the same people that are, believe in pro-life and don't want babies killed are the same people that have supported all the abuses at the border and separation of children and the killing of children at the border. And so which is the most important life? I think they're all the same, but you can't be in that like that.
Right.
From a spiritual perspective, it's either right or it's wrong.
Right.
All things that are wrong are wrong. All things, you can't just divide up on, and
Can't
literally
have it both
this is what
ways.
happens.
Yeah.
They try to divide out to which is the least painful to the agenda.
The lesser.
And they decide exactly from that, okay, we're going to go on this side, when the reality, the churches should be calling out wrong where it's wrong. They should call out wrong in the Democrats. They should call out wrong on the Republicans. That's our role, not to get people elected, not to put together PACs. It is to be the spiritual conscience of the country. And that's where, the church has really gotten itself out of alignment with this.
Or maybe they're saying we want to control a woman, what she does, more than we want to protect African-American young man. Maybe that's part of it.
That has a little tint to it as well.
Yeah,
right?
It does.
But that's the whole point is, again, you can look at both, the young men that are being killed. You can be looking at the police. You can look at it from both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say, look, there are people that are trying to do their job, right? But there are people who are doing wrong, and wrong is wrong. If they're a police officer or if they're a criminal, either case, they're wrong. And if they're a police officer that's abusing people, then they are a criminal.
Wrong. Yes.
So, but you got to call it what it is. You can't just, it's this whole thing of choosing sides.
Yes.
Something that has really escalated from the time of, I would say, the second, before Obama came in, Bush, the second Bush, in that time frame, that this media push that started pushing and saying, look, we're on our side or their side. We gotta win. We gotta beat those liberals. That whole atmosphere that generated starting back in that time, and it's made this a polarity instead of a choice for what's best overall. It's a battle. And now Trump has mastered that to the point where it's almost become this civil war.
Yes.
These sides are brutal to the point of bringing guns and ready to shoot and kill people. It's not, we're supposed to be a united country. We're supposed to be able to have differences of opinions, but still know what we're here. It's like in the same family, right? We may not agree on everything, but we still family.
Exactly.
And it's just torn us apart. So let me ask you this, in terms of what is happening. We're talking about kind of what's happening on the surface. What do you think, what do you feel is happening in the undercurrent, in the spirit realm, undergirding all that? Because we've seen a bunch of stuff this year, not just one thing.
A lot.
I mean, we saw COVID, we saw all these people being killed. We've seen all kind of, we've seen earthquakes. We saw plagues over in Africa. We've seen it this year.
Yes.
What do you
Businesses
spiritually feel is going on?
Yeah. God is speaking to us loud and clear. There's no question about it. Two things we have to know. Number one, what really directly is God saying to us, and are we ready to be obedient? Those really are the two questions. None of this, of course, is caught God by surprise. It caught us by surprise, but it didn't catch God by surprise. And it's not a secret that all of this is happening, because it's the earth, it's the creation groaning, birth pain until the time of redemption. So it's no secret, it's no surprise to God, as I said, that you got COVID and this racial tension kind of all going on at the same time. I believe the Lord is speaking with what you said. He's saying to the church, it's time for you to come together and be united. I believe portion of the church has made a huge mistake in trying to bring make politics Christianity on either side.
Right.
I believe we ought to have a voice, but our most important priority is the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. Absolutely. Because we believe and know that He's the answer. Yeah. He's even the answer for the racial issue, because, as I said, when the Lord really comes in, you love. There was a problem with your salvation when you're still racist and still hating people because of the color of their skin. Because God says very clearly, let us love one another, for love is of God.
Right.
You can't say you love God and hate your brother.
Right. Exactly. Right.
So the message to the church, and much of the church is missing it, is you got to love one another. Mm-hmm. You know, don't get caught up in all of this Trumpology and you know, trying to make what you want happen, and gonna profit lie and try to say
why, our agendas, man.
Yes.
Profit lie with your racism and think God is gonna back it up.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that happened. Now they want to say
way off course. I mean,
I saw one the other night still trying to prophesy. He said God is going to turn this thing around.
Yeah, they still hanging with it.
It's not turning around. Trump has lost every day and loses every other time he goes to court. Okay.
Well, you know what? That would
but we still hear him.
Would truly be God.
Yeah.
We would know it was God. But the thing is, you got people prophesying on both sides. So God has got to be really twisted, right? He's telling you what you want to hear and telling you what you want to hear.
Exactly.
Somebody ain't right.
Somebody's not right.
So we're about to find out.
Right.
But check this out. People are prophesying what out of their own spirit, of course, what they want to happen.
Right. What they want.
When you're really, not only are you lying, which is bad enough all by itself, but you're doing a disservice to the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, because that's not what God is saying, and God could care less about all that. Mm-hmm. Your word ought to be to help transform somebody's life. What God really saying right now in this time and in this hour. You're wasting your opportunity because you're trying to push your own agenda.
Agenda.
The Lord is saying, stop pushing. Now, we haven't got that yet through all this COVID. Stop pushing your agenda and your will, and let's push the kingdom of God. Rodney King said it years ago. We still ain't got it. Can we just
get along? Well, I guess what they're trying to do is just prophesy it into existence. If they speak it, they expect it to come. You know, that's some of that faith terminology.
Exactly.
Speak it into existence.
It still has to be the will of God.
Yeah, you can't speak something in existence that's not God's will.
That's not God's will.
Prophecy is supposed to be hearing from God, not telling God what
you want to happen. Right.
And the sad thing, why do they want it to happen so bad? That's the sad thing, because you're really telling on yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why does Paula White care and try to send an African angel? Why are you that concerned?
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
Here we
Man, I don't know. Well, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not taking the bait. I'm pulling that back.
I just want to say this one thing, and then I'm gonna behave. Probably time. Her son said, you probably didn't hear this because this was just a little Bible study, but if Biden gets sworn in January, whatever, I will never preach again. Now listen, all I'm asking you to do, and this for him and any other prophet liar that said that, this is all to do. Keep your word. That's all I'm asking.
Don't tell a lie.
I'm looking right now. I want to see what the first Sunday after January 20th is. Let me see. What's the date? Okay, January 24th. Keep your eye open. Let's see who's still in the pulpit.
Be true to your word.
That's why I'm asking, because a lot of these people they're not preaching the word, they're preaching out of their own spirit.
Right.
Obviously.
I have very strong opinions. You follow me on Facebook, you can see I'm very opinionated. I'll say things, but when I get in that pulpit, I'm not preaching politics.
That's right. That's right.
I'm preaching the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Right.
He that can save and change lives.
Yeah.
Our political perspectives, that may be important for us here on earth, and I believe you ought to have a vote and have a voice. Yeah. But at the end of the day, our most important thing is preaching the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, loving one another.
Yes.
Showing true love, well, not just talking.
Right.
Because that thing is the real truth of the matter is a lot of people have shown their true colors this year. Yes. Well, really, it started with Obama. That's when my eyes really started to come open to see how deep this stuff really goes. And it's time for the church sincerely to get over this stuff, to repent, to reconcile one with another, to love one another, because we are supposed to be the witness to the world. To show, we know the world is gonna hate and be racist. The church will never be.
Well,
the love of Christ will constrain us.
It's going to be really challenging to see how we heal from this. And I do believe this is not over.
No.
And January 20th is not over. I don't know what's going to happen 2021, but I would not be surprised to see things get worse before they get better, because it's spiritual. And that's, again, what people are missing with all the stuff's going on, all the blind eyes, even of the churches. There's a spiritual thing happening, and people are so focused on the people's election that they are not looking at the spirit of what's going on. And so I think there is more to come. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a challenging time, but what you typically get out of things like this is you get new birth, right? You get the phoenix rising up. And so as it gets worse and worse and worse, God always brings something out of that that represents him. And that's what we'll be praying for. And so it may mean a shedding of some people and some things that are in the way, some things that are images that represent what they're not will have to fall, so that the true sense of God and voice of God can rise up. I think it's going to be a powerful time. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what
my brother-in-law's on. God is separating the wheat from the tares. I think it's a very dynamic time, and there is much more to be seen out of this and experience, good and bad. So we got a lot to pray for. And a lot of ministry to be done. Listen, this doors closed thing is totally irrelevant in terms of ministry.
It is.
We were at our morning meeting this morning, with our leadership team. We were talking about what can we do. You have a mindset saying, okay, we're shut down. Okay, I'll see you guys in whatever. Or you have a mindset that says, okay, what can we do during this time?
Right.
What can we achieve? How can we help people? Because people still need help.
They need
our
a lot of
people
help.
And the broader people, and you have to retransition your ministry to what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think it's been a great conversation, and, I'll be looking to see where God takes you in ministry this year as well, too, because I think we all need to be on that bandwagon of really getting out there and sharing the messages of God in the midst of all this stuff and all this noise that's going on.
Cacophony.
So it's great having you on, man.
Well, thank you so much. I was so honored, and I'm so glad we finally was able to make this happen.
Absolutely, we enjoyed it. We got more to come. So make sure to stick around, and stuff comes up. Make sure you send us a message. We'll get it on, and we'll watch what happens here. What visions God pours out into people. So
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
And report back too on what you see. I mean, as you get a chance to go out and network with other people, love to hear what other ministries are doing as well. So, keep keep us connected, and we'll try and keep everybody connected as well.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Love you guys.
Okay.
Thank you, man. Have a good one. We'll see you again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So great conversation with Elder Hosmer, as always.
That was very good.
I thought that was really good, and it's very powerful and pertinent, because there really is just so much going on, and there's so much more to come. And what really bothers me is that people seem to be all focused on the wrong things.
The wrong thing. Exactly.
It's just terrible, because it's like somebody's pulling a rope-a-dope on you, right? They have this out here. Look at this over here. Look at this. Watch this.
Right.
When all this other stuff is going on, it's all distractions to reality. We're fighting over things that should not be arguments. We're wrestling with stuff which is not the biggest issue.
Right.
And it's just caused us to be topsy-turvy, both outside the church and
inside the church.
And if the church is now on the right plane, how can it possibly lead others to the light?
Exactly. Exactly. I think we are not to allow the enemy to have his way, to get in our heads and tell us that we are depressed. That needs to stop.
The thing that
you need to think more on some positive things, because you can just spiral down right now. A lot of people are spiraling down into depression and woe is me.
Yeah. The thing that scares me is that this distraction and this noise is so high up in the church.
Yes.
And in those that have represented to people for decades the word of God and learning from the things of God. It's so high in the church, and it I hate to say it this way, but it implies to us how infiltrated the devil is.
Yes.
I'm not saying that people are of the devil.
No,
but I'm saying they can be used by the devil.
They can be used.
And they can be used and confused and confounded. And the representations of what the devil is doing in terms of distortion and distraction are so high right now.
Yes.
That into the church and church leadership, that it's an absolutely terrifying thing.
Yes, because you can see it. You can actually see the spirit working in people.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to have more faith and be more spiritual.
Yeah.
So that those things don't overtake us, mentally and psychologically. We say that, we have God, and our faith is in God. Put it there. Put your faith into action, because I refuse,
Yeah, we need a voice from the church that is uplifting, not destructive. And the voices right now are trying to get people to charge in a direction or to fight the battle.
Right.
But they're not uplifting, they're not encouraging, they're not building up the people, and they're not separating out, as Bishop Clark talked about the wheat from the tares, they're not separating out the noise from the true message of God and all these things. And so there has to be a transition, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens over this next year. Really interesting, meaning maybe terrible, scary. I don't know. It's not over, folks. So again, we say, please be careful.
Yes, and then you have your frontline workers.
Yeah,
you can't tell them not to be worried or not to be concerned. Frontline workers really have a reason to be upset, to be depressed.
In terms of medical, I fear for all these firemen and policemen that have to go into people's houses.
Nurses,
heading there, teachers as well, and nurses. Medical people. This is a very, very dangerous time to be in those fields, and so we have to pray for them as well. And listen, don't get it twisted. He said policemen. We need to pray for policemen.
Yes.
Because number one, they need to be in a position, they're in stressful positions, and we want them to do the right things. And we want the people rooted out that have the wrong motives.
Right.
But at the same time, they are there. I know it's serve and protect. They have the responsibility of going in these homes when nobody's heard from this person and going into a COVID home.
Exactly.
And all these different dangerous situations. This is a mess.
It is.
It's getting worse. So please take care of yourselves, be responsible, avoid all of this political noise. Take care of yourself.
Take care.
Do what makes sense.
Right.
We protect ourselves from all kind of stuff. Because it just makes sense. You wear a seatbelt so that you don't get killed in a car accident.
Right.
I don't mean to be funny. Y'all bear with me for a minute.
Put a helmet on when you ride a motorcycle.
You listen, you put a condom on.
Yes.
So you don't catch somebody's disease.
Exactly.
Right? I'm sorry. But
so
you
put a mask on.
It's not that difficult.
Cover it up.
Protect your
Oops.
I should have never started. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm going to pray after this. But
it's true.
Do what makes sense. Protect yourself. Wear a mask. It's not that you are not an out of line person if you put a mask over your face.
Right.
You have friends coming over. How you doing? They come to the door. They wear a mask. You wear a mask. I know it's weird. I know it's awkward. But protect yourself. It just makes sense to protect yourself from a disease. I said it at the beginning. I'll say it at the end for those who weren't there. It is now the #1 killer in the United States. COVID. It's not just a little flu bug that's taken out a few people. It's now the #1 killer in the United States. Wow. So and it's getting worse. Yes. So please protect yourself. Just before we go, I do want to mention some exciting things that are happening that we have going on in terms of new things. We've been talking a little bit and alluding a little bit to our YouTube page. And we have our YouTube channel, set up now. I want to show it to you. And we want you guys to come check it out, okay? It's Conversations, Pam and David. If you go to YouTube, just go to Conversations, Pam and David, and you will find our page there. And it's looking pretty cool right now. Nice and kind of professional.
Looking professional.
But you can find, things since I think like September. They go back as far as September. You can see all of our former guests on here that we've had conversations with. There's our building our playlist. There's most popular, and then there's all of them. So you can go into this at any time.
My godmother, Georgiana Lynn, Deshambra.
And you can see all the different videos that we have so far. So it's still it's still building up. This one will be up there soon as well. But the one we had with all the sunglasses. Here we are with the state senator. We have a lot of different conversations up here, and it is building up. We need you to subscribe to it. So when you go on, if you hit the subscribe button up here, then every week it'll automatically send you a notification when something is posted. So if you missed the live show, you'll be able to connect up with it every week coming directly to you. Also, we need the numbers to get up to over 100. So because then we get additional special features that we can add to it. So we do invite you guys to check it out. Conversations, Pam and David. Just go on YouTube and type in Conversations, Pam and David. You'll find it. And I think you'll like it. And maybe you'll even share it with somebody, invite somebody else to subscribe. So got that going on and a whole lot more stuff. We got a new Instagram page going on for the church. And we also have, the church also has a long-standing YouTube channel. It goes back, I was looking today, like 2014 sermons. Wow. So lots and lots of ministry on that. And that's just under Destiny Preparation Church. So lots of resources for you. Hope you will find them helpful and stay connected up. Tomorrow morning service, we are still in the building tomorrow. So the doors are open. You can come and have service. I hate to say it, but this may be the last time. I'm not just talking about the rapture, but things are happening right now in the COVID rates. We're anticipating that there will be shutdowns coming up in our area very soon. So more than likely before Christmas, we'll be going back to just live stream. We'll still be having services on Sunday, but eventually they'll be live stream only. This week, you are invited, if you're in the Rochester area, to join us in service 11:30 at Destiny Preparation Church, 1405 Lyle Avenue. And we'll keep you up to date week to week with what the plans are, what's going on. All right. So it was a good evening.
Yes, it was very good.
Had a good time. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll share it with somebody. Thanks to those who commented and are part of the program. You guys got to get to calling, man. We need you to connect up a little bit more. It's a lot more fun when we're talking with you and to you instead of just in front of you. But we'll work on that. All right. Y'all work on that with us. Get bold and join us. All right. Until next time, have a good evening and we will catch up with you. I guess I should be signing us off at this point. Until next time, have a good evening. And we're going to close you out with a new song from Kenny Lewis called What a Mighty God. So we will see you guys next time. All right. Take care of yourself. Have a good evening. Protect yourself.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
We'll see you.